And it's so fun to watch the little video windows in StreamYard while our intro plays, and there are 4 to 5 heads bop into the sound of the intro music.
Good choice for music, though.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the European Ham Radio Show. And we're one guy short because the Americans have something they call the World Championship in football, or Super Bowl. And Walt is not here, but I just want to clarify one thing, though, before we start the show, because if you can see the picture here, let's see if my arrow doesn't show up here. Let's see.
Nope.
There it is. We have a foot and a ball, and then we have an egg and a hand. So it's the American Championship in hand egg.
It's
And
one
then we lost our American viewership.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
So
And the subscriber count just dropped by 20. No.
just to clarify that it's not even a metric or not metric debate. It's a hand and an egg. So enough about that. But Walt's not here to defend himself, so we're not gonna talk any more about that subject.
Oh, I can promise you we will.
Yeah.
Guys,
Perhaps it's Taylor Swift night, as far as I've read the Super Bowl this year. So
yeah, someone's gonna have to explain to me what a Taylor Swift is.
And Lee says that the Super Bowl does not start for 3 more hours, which is a pity, though, because if it started at a reasonable time, I would actually be watching it. But it's not lined up for European viewers.
No, I've done that once before work, and that was a really hard day at work afterwards.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But,
yep. So I'm probably not gonna watch the Super Bowl either. I've done it a couple of times. I usually fall asleep somewhere in the second quarter. And then you kind of miss the commercial breaks because they're not as frequent here as they are in the United States. So you just get a commercial break in progress slide on the screen.
Yeah, and they do not send the same ads either.
No. William says that it doesn't beat rugby, and rugby is perhaps hand egg as well, just without the safeguards.
And it doesn't claim to be neither foot nor ball. So that's an important distinction, I think. But I've seen rugby, and I think you have to be pretty insane to participate in that. But yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, Jeff says that the Chiefs are going to win. I don't really know who plays except for the Chiefs, though. So that's how much I watch the NFL nowadays. But this is not a sports show. This is a ham radio show.
What I know that is that the Master Chief will win 117. And I guess that's whoosh over your heads.
Yes.
I
was
that is Halo, isn't it?
Yes, that is Halo.
Yeah.
What's a Halo?
It's a game.
And Steve asked if there are other continents we can upset. I'm just gonna generally say yes.
And there's 5 others, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll do our best.
Let's say ham radio weeks. And Kjetil, would you like to start?
Yes. It's been a lot of work this week. So since I did way too much ham radio last week and had a lot of fun this week, I did not. But I went to my cabin, and there's a lovely invention there. I can sit indoors with my radio. I can't do that at here, but at the cabin I can. So I had so much fun sitting there running FT8 and FT4 and doing a lot of DX. Lots of weird countries from far, far away, and that is really fun. So that's something I usually don't get to do, like sit there for hours with the radio. No SSB QSOs this time, but I did try to get TTY up and running with X6100 to the computer, but I can't get that working with MMTTY. So if somebody has some sort of input on how you get that running with TTY on a computer, then I'd be really interested. I know you can do it on the radio.
I think me and Steve temporarily offline. We did a stream about a year ago on how to do radio on the 6100, and I think we managed to get it running sometime during the stream.
Okay,
I think
I need to look that.
you've even got a QSO on it, as far as I remember. It's on my channel.
Yep, I'll have to look at that. Other than that, absolutely nothing on the ham radio front. The weather has been atrocious for radio the days I've been able to go out, so none of that.
Yeah. Tobias, you've been playing around with your new purchase a little bit.
Yeah, right. I made a video yesterday about setting up the PC programs of the D75. And that was a tough video to make because I have a bit of a cold, and I think I know exactly when I got that. It was when I watched Kjetil's video when he was walking up that steep hill with a t-shirt and plus 7 degrees and telling us how balmy it is. I think, that's when I got the cold. But I think it's better now. I mean, all week I had a sore throat and coughing, but at some point, it has to go, yeah?
Yep.
What else did I do? A lot of small things, and I'm sure I forget something. Yeah, my restored triple mag mount got another coat of paint because, the blue paint on the edges where I painted the screws was already being scratched away, so I gave it another coat. And then, lots of small things. The QMX had a small update. I think they found a bug with the PTT queuing, so a small solder bridge or wire bridge had to be added to fix that. A small mistake in the PCB. And what else? Well, if I remember, I'll jump in later. I think maybe Bob tells us what he has done all week.
I've been at work all week, so not much radio during the week, but I've managed some this weekend. I just have to ask, have you managed some QSOs on the fantastic new radio, Tobias? Just programming.
I can tell you, when it's sitting here in the attic, the nearby APRS repeater picks it up, so I have a few APRS spots sent by it, and I connected it to the hotspot and listened to Reflector 001 Charlie a bit, but I haven't made a QSO yet. So I don't know if the microphone is working.
All right, well, you've got it on digitals. It's the most important bit, I think. That's excellent. I'm looking for mine. I ordered mine from Mark Lynch and Sons, so it's coming from outside of Europe, across the channel. Hoping to get it sometimes next week.
You
I've
are
already,
aware that the UK technically is Europe, even though they left the EU.
No.
By that logic, Norway isn't Europe either.
We have the what's it called? The
EEC.
Yes.
Oil.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
oil.
and we have the oil. Basically, for anyone listening, there's the EU, which is like the United States for Europe, only not. And for the countries where the population didn't want to become a part of the EU, we have something of a sort of a Class B membership, where you get all the disadvantages but none of the advantages, and that's the EEC that Morten talks about. And Norway is a Class B member of the European Union.
And we're one of 3 countries left in the EFTA, the European Free Trade Association, as well.
Yeah,
together with Iceland and Switzerland.
Yeah.
That's probably a smart move. Hello, Brits. No, just kidding. Sorry, it's hard. To stop.
Okay, we are doing our best today on offending different nations and continents here.
So, who do you want to offend now, Morten? No.
I'm not nearly done offending people. So.
keep going, Bob.
Yeah. No. As I said, I'm waiting for my radio. Mark Lynch and Sons is a fantastic shop. I'm actually thinking of going there. There's a group from our club that talked about just taking a trip over and going as a club to Martin Lynch and just looking at whatever's in the on the walls and in the shelves. I've received excellent service from there before, and I think it's a really nice international shop. It's like Christech, only international. Crutch is, of course, the
only
best Norwegian.
only a physical. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our part-time sponsor of the show, but not this episode.
Yeah, yeah. I don't do sponsorships, but I will gladly call out quality businesses, and Crutch is clearly one of them.
Yep.
So if you're in Norway,
and that lines up with my new sponsor policy that I will only be sponsored by good companies. And since I told my previous Chinese sponsor that I was kind of annoyed at how they treated me, I don't think I have that sponsor anymore.
Good for you. Good for you.
So I guess I offended the Chinese as well.
Yep.
Very good. Add it to the list, Steve.
I will try to rectify that because my FX for CR has been broken. The working theory there is that if you connect a LiPo battery with really short, thick leads, the inrush current from connecting that battery will fry the drivers for the finals. And if you fry them and they end up shorting, then that will blow the finals as well. So I think that's what happened to mine. I took some pictures and sent them to the designer of this radio, which is a Chinese guy, BG2FX, I think, or maybe 5FX, can't remember.
4FX?
4FX for the 5X, maybe.
Let's see.
Now you have to look it up.
5.
Yeah. In the meantime, a short comment about the
BG2FX.
About the Kenwood radio. One thing that I've already noticed is that they've really integrated this D-Star thing very nicely, because you know how it is with DMR. You have to, program everything in advance and know exactly which repeaters you're on and in which channels and so on. And with D-Star integration in the Kenwood, you basically switch on your GPS and then you say nearest repeater, and then it says this repeater is 10 kilometers in this direction. And then you select it. So it's really convenient. Unfortunately, the D-Star density here in my area is not very high. So there's exactly 1 in 20 kilometer distance. But in theory, it's very, very nicely integrated. And it has also programmed repeaters for all major regions. So you can just go traveling without worrying to set up everything from scratch beforehand, like you have to do with DMR. So yeah, nice. That looks quite convenient so far.
I just want to, before Bob is finished, I just want to say that DMR can be easy if you use OpenGD77 on one of those radios that that OS supports, because that makes DMR super, super simple, because you only add the talk groups in one batch and the repeaters in one batch, and then you just say connect this list of talk groups to this repeater, and boom, you're done. So you don't have to program everything for every repeater.
Yeah, the programming of the Anytone is way easier than a real commercial DMR system where you really have to.
OpenGD77 is just really simple and open source, and I actually managed to get a sponsor to sponsor a radio that supported OpenGD77, and I never mentioned that manufacturer's firmware with a single word in my videos.
That's, I think, is quite all right, because they don't make any money off the firmware that's included with the phones. If they sell the phone, I'm guessing they're happy.
And that firmware on Chinese DMR radios is terrible. But please continue with your week, Bob.
By the way, you got me to buy that radio for the open firmware. I haven't installed it yet.
And that's the
Retivis
RT3S, which is actually a really good radio.
Yep. Yeah.
If you just get rid of the factory firmware.
Yeah. So basically, it's not a really good radio.
The radio part is good.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. Let me continue with my epic story of Chinese radios from BG2FX. I took the pictures of the inside that showed the stir-fried finals and drivers. And he said, what's your address? I'll send you a new board. That's it. Shipped that up here just in time for Chinese New Year's. He shipped it with DHL. It took about 2.5 days, and I had that in hand. He hasn't charged me a single cent.
Can you show us those photos? Or that finals?
I can just see if I can find the photos. That shouldn't be impossible.
Would be interesting to see. Like,
can't be that long ago. Oh, come on. Here we go. Let's find the good one. Maybe that one. And I will have to... How do I do this? Present? Share
Yeah,
screen?
and since you're a co-producer, I don't have to click anything.
So if I do this... Yes!
yay.
Can you see my my cursor?
No.
You have to
Yes.
click the window where it is, and then we can
Oh.
see your...
So here, yeah.
Yep.
So basically underneath here are the drivers.
That looks a bit toasty. Yeah.
Yeah, and probably these are FETs that failed short, so they took with them the finals as well.
Oh.
At least it looks like it.
Yeah,
So these
they have some blisters, or looks like.
yeah, they do. And I'm guessing you all know the smell of a burnt FR4. That was the smell I felt when I opened the radio. So,
Yummy.
Yeah, that's not a nice smell.
no, it's not. But I'm getting this entire board. I have the package. I'm going to do a deboxing video, so I haven't opened it yet. And I figured maybe I should try and film replacing the board as well. That could be a fun little project. So
Is the new board populated, or do you need to move the working components from over to the new board?
in that case, I'm not going to be as nice to him on the next week's show.
And Jeff's got a comment here that the magic smoke escaped, and we all know that you got to keep the smoke inside the electronics.
That's the thing. There was never any smoke, so I didn't want to believe that it was actually the finals that had gone. But yeah, I opened it up, and there you are.
Every machine is a smoke machine if you operate it wrongly enough.
Yeah, that's probably true. Let's see if I can stop sharing. Will that pop us back? Yes. Most excellent. So that's on the agenda for maybe next week. I'm going to Spain on Friday. So I'll be Echo Alpha, maybe a number stroke next Sunday. So with any luck, I will have that fixed so I can bring that along to at least one summit and one park in Spain. If not, I'll do the G90, or maybe I'll do the G90 no matter what.
So what's the fix now to avoid the frying in the future?
I think I will check. I think he's made some modifications to that to limit the inrush current so that it doesn't happen. But the fix for the existing board is just to use fairly long, thin wires when you connect LiPo batteries.
Okay.
It is insane because what I did, I had a 4-cell LiPo battery, which is 16, maybe almost 17 volts, which is within range for that radio. But that thing can deliver 50 C, 50 times its capacity. That means you can empty that battery in a minute. And there was 6 millimeter square thick cables coming out of it, and they were 2 centimeters long.
Yeah.
So
all your current went straight into the finals, right?
Yes, the
Oh,
amount
dear.
of inrush current you can get from that, it's pretty amazing. So the radio is not meant for it. So I'll just use the cables that came with it and maybe another battery because I don't want to do that dance.
Okay, but very good customer service, right?
Yeah.
Excellent customer service.
That is actually really good customer service, though.
Yeah.
And what I've heard, he is good at giving excellent customer service.
He is. I'm not the first one to receive spare parts when something breaks. So yeah, I would not hesitate buying a radio from him again.
This is something I would never have thought of. Like you could wipe out the radio like that.
Not even the designer had thought of that apparently, because this came to be after he created the radio, after he sent it to a lot of people, and we started using RC batteries, really high C RC batteries.
Yeah.
There. I think that's what Jeff says. That's there is actually an unpopulated spot for a capacitor on that board, and I think that's what's meant to be on the new board now. But yeah.
And Lee comments that it's probably no BMS on your battery.
lipos for our scene almost never has BMSs on them, so that just that would take away some of the fun.
No, they just get in the way.
It's like carrying a little bomb along with you, isn't it?
Let's call it a medium-sized bomb.
Yeah, but
not a
you
small.
have the BMS is in your charger, right?
Yeah,
They have separate balancing cables. At least the ones I've always had separate balancing.
Absolutely, and that makes sense. Why would you want to replicate that in all your battery packs? It's not really a good idea, except for the bomb thing. But other than that,
a little fire. Meh.
Yeah, a small fire. I'm using ammunition boxes, like for the 12.7 millimeter rounds, with a really hefty lid. I use that for storing these batteries when I have them indoors. So I don't trust lipos, not even as far as I can throw them. So, But let me round off my my ham radio week. I've been to 2 summits. Excellent conditions for summits here the last 2 days. I've been to, let's see, I have to look at my cheat sheet. Lima Alpha Tango Mike 068 and Lima Alpha Bravo Uniform 026. That was yesterday and today. Good, nice activations, fairly short walks. Not much in the way of a view. It was foggy and well, basically a lot of trees. But there's the winter bonuses, so that's 10 more summits on the air points for me.
I think you're starting to get like really the hang of that shorts format. At least the ones you put on Instagram are really nice shorts videos.
Yeah, your shorts videos are getting really good. I have no chance to match your video quality there.
Well, there's I've practiced for 10 videos, and I'm pretty sure if you did too, you'd get there. It's not that hard.
I have more than 10 videos out, and I still can't figure out YouTube's short editor on the phone.
I use CapCut.
CapCut?
Yeah. CapCut is made by ByteDance, which makes TikTok. That's an application you install on a PC, and it's
that seems about as secure as using Telegram.
Yeah. Well, you need to start dancing on the summits. That will get you views.
Okay, I probably shouldn't say that, but already I'm standing on the summit for at least 2-3 minutes bareback. Because I'm warm when I get up there. I take off everything that's sweaty, and I usually start rigging up my antenna, wearing nothing on the upper part of my body. And I think if I started to do a dance as well, that would be tad too much. So, I'm not going to do that. Great topic today.
and Lee comments that we got a great topic today, and we're not even there yet, and we're still doing great.
Yeah, but let me finish plugging CapCut. Excellent idea. I got that from my son, which also wants to do YouTube videos, but he wants to do them of him playing Fortnite. So he told me about this CapCut thing, and we downloaded it, and I figured, I should try it out. And it's fun, and it's easy. So highly recommended.
I will have a look into that, because I tried my latest short. I edited that on the train with YouTube's editor, and it's hard to stay cool-headed in front of the other passengers while trying to edit a video on your phone.
Doing anything useful on the phone is pretty darn near impossible, if you ask me. But
I use the DaVinci Resolve for that. It has an option for vertical videos.
Yes, I have done that as well.
It tells you are a despicable person whenever you click it, and then it lets you edit.
Was that your entire ham radio week, Bob?
I have something on my bench.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been listening to because these mountains, if they're not really long walks, they're usually a long drive away. So I've been listening to the Ham Radio Workbench podcast, and they talk about what's on their bench, usually for the first 2.5 hours of the show. So I figured I'll let's see if I can I have some more batteries. They're not really transparent. I just looked at damn green screen. These are lithium iron phosphate batteries, which means they will probably not explode. So I have 4 of these and a charge controller. Oh, that was awful.
Yep.
Looks like this. So I'll try and make a small battery pack. These are, I think, 7 amp hours. So that will make me a battery that's 12.4 volts nominal, 7 amp hours. That's just below what you can bring on a plane.
And what kind of cells are those? They look bigger than 18650s.
They are, let's say, 32,700.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So yep, that's on my bench. I took out FreeCAD, which is my preferred way of drawing things for 3D printing, and did that for about 2 minutes. Got really, really pissed off, and and I haven't looked at it since. So,
Fusion 360. I'm just going to whisper that.
That was not a whisper. I have used Fusion 360. It's nice, but it's not free in any sense of the word.
No, it is financially free if you get a personal license.
Yes, then it's free for a year, and then it's up to Autodesk whether they renew it or not.
I never had an issue with that.
I have never had an issue with that either.
I don't trust Autodesk.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I go with my ham radio week now?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, please do. And I'm actually going to switch to my workbench because I'm a little bit inspired by the workbench show. Let's start here because you brought this little FTDI USB adapter to me last week, which uses a really modern mini USB connector, by the way.
Wow.
I spent a while figuring out where I had a mini USB cable. Because I want to get cat control on the USDX. I found some kind of manual, but I'm guessing the pinout in the manual is not correct. So I have not been able to get it working, but that's one of my projects. And then I released a video yesterday about this Unan here. So I've been playing around, made a super fancy test device for 49-to-1 Unans. This is just a cable with a resistance of 2.43 kilo ohms, as close as I could get with the resistors I had lying around, and tested this Unan. And I'm not going to say too much because the video drops in a little bit more than a week, but it's promising. Let's put it that way. So it's you put me on the right track, Bob, and then I watched a couple of YouTube videos by the Smoking Ape and Ham Radio Dude and figured out that this was the way to do it. And the next step is waiting for antenna weather so I can actually try it out.
Any weather is antenna weather button.
I was going to say that, yeah.
And speaking about antennas, though, because a couple of weeks ago we had Tim N9SAB on the show, and the G5RV just showed up in the mail, and it's just so nicely built.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
It's 300 ohm ladder line, nice wire. And these end insulators are just, they're built out of shrink wrap, but they look amazing.
Are they 3D printed below?
It feels like it's just shrink wrap, actually.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to trying that out, but this has been a no PODA week, and looks like next week is going to be that way as well. And as a little segue to our topic, I got a tuner in the mail. Bought this off of AliExpress, and I figured this would be I bought this so you didn't have to thing. But it's actually really well built, high quality components. And when you cut the seal where it says warning, this item is not fit for resale if the seal is broken. When you cut that and open the box up, it's really well built inside.
Yeah, that looks nice.
And I don't know if you can hear that sound from the switches.
Yeah.
It feels and sounds just right, and it actually tunes, and it's a C-match tuner, so you I couldn't get that to work the first time I tried it, but I tried it again today. You put it into tune mode, and then it routes some of the RF into a dummy load in here, so the radio thinks it has a perfect SWR. Then you just turn the dials back and forth until the LED goes out, and you're in tune.
Yep, that seems like it's an open source project. If you look at that logo in the middle, so
Yep.
it would be interesting to see if this is just like they're reselling it or if it's the ones that actually made it. But if
I
it was
haven't. I bought it on AliExpress, so I think, but it's really well built.
But
that answers it.
I have a question about that nice sounding switch on the front there, because there's a label underneath it.
Yep.
Can we see that
on
again?
the switch? On the switch?
On the front?
Of the switch?
Yeah.
There is no label on the switch.
Underneath the switch on the front, it says tuner work.
Yeah, it says, yeah.
So you get to decide whether or not the tuner works by flipping that switch.
You see that the tune and work, yes.
It's tune and work. All right.
Tune and work, yes.
Okay.
And then it's a high or low impedance switch on the back there.
Oh,
Yep.
That's nice.
And I just want to, Andy's got a question here, if I posted his prices yet. And they're going in the mail tomorrow, along with a lot of overdue packages. So I'll send you a tracking number once they're in the mail, Andy. And I'm sorry about the delay. That brings us on to the topic of the day. Tuners. No, actually, it does not bring us on to the topic of today, because we got to present a YouTube channel.
Yes, we will.
Do you want to present that, Kjetil, since this was your suggestion?
Yes, I can. I'm gonna share my screen here.
Let's put it up on stage.
Yes. So the channel we have today is Tom Lima Bravo 6 Quebec Juliet. He's a small channel. He does a lot of short technical views into different topics, and he doesn't get very many views, but I could absolutely recommend watching him and just dropping him some comments and making sure he gets some more followers out there. It's nice to see some smaller hamtubers. Many of us have been there already. And let him grow up. And he does share quite a lot. Some of this is very Norwegian related, to say it that way, but others is more like international. Like, for example, his video here on PyStar, which was a really nice watch.
Yep.
Yep.
And he has been a guest on my stream before we started the European Ham Radio Show as well. The moment he released his first or second video, I think I picked him up and invited him on. And it's a kind of vlog style where he documents his ham journey as a new ham. And I got to give him a lot of credit for that, because it is scary to put your thoughts and opinions out there when you're a new ham, because you're so afraid that some older sad hams will come and kind of trash you a little bit, actually.
Yeah, and you can see this is like his first video a year ago. So as you can see on his call sign, I think he's got licensed last year or the year before, something like that.
Last year, I think. He was barely licensed when he started his YouTube channel, actually.
Yeah, so that is nice, and it's really cool to see some of the newer guys start up YouTube channels as well. Highly recommend people to do that if you like sharing, and this hobby is a lot about sharing. It's not for everybody, but for some people, sharing is absolutely fun. I guess most of us here like it, at least.
It is, and I mean, sharing stuff is why at least I do a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and that's like the old, what do you call it over in the States, like mentoring or
Elmering.
Elmering, yes. That spirit. Doing that on YouTube, you can reach so many people.
Exactly, and I think we YouTubers are somewhat of the modern Elmers. Yeah, actually,
and you can make a very interesting video on some really weird topic that helps somebody maybe a year or two down the road. So that is cool. The same happens with Soda summits. Like, I've actually gotten contacted by quite a few people that go on vacation to Norway and wondering, like, how do I go on doing SOTA or POTA in Norway?
Yep.
And those poor guys often end up with me trying to say hello to them as well. So,
and Tom's also got the Andy Cowley seal of approval on his channel. So
That is good.
That is good.
Did we do the ticker with the URL for its channel?
No, I posted it in chat.
Okay, I'll do it then.
Yeah.
Yep.
And 45 Auto is a little bit late. You haven't really missed much except us offending at least 3 countries and 2 continents.
3 continents.
3 continents. And
We try our best.
We try our best. So just since you missed the beginning there, 45, since you have the national final in hand egg, I just want to remind you a couple of things. This is a foot, this is a ball, this is a hand, and that is an egg. And now on to today's topic. If I can just find the right button here.
In fact, back to today's topic, where you already started it with your nice.
I started with my tuner, but I had a thought though, because when I started this hobby, a lot of older hams told me that you shouldn't use tuners.
Yeah.
You should only use resonant antennas, and you should have 1 antenna per band. And in a perfect world, that is probably right. But then I look at Walt and what he does with the G90 and his insane antennas, actually.
Yeah.
I think tuners are actually a good thing if you realize that they don't tune the antenna, but they tune the transmission line.
Yeah, and that point you said there, but like you should have only 1 resonant antenna. That works if you build that resonant antenna for 1 place. If you work portable,
don't move it.
Yeah, then that is not a resonant antenna when you move it from a marsh to a summit to a frozen lake or whatever. It's gonna change, so you still need a tuner.
Absolutely, and I use my tuner at home as well because my antennas aren't perfect. The closest one is my commercial built Windham antenna, but even that is not. It's not resonant everywhere on every band. It's supposed to be resonant on, especially 80 meters. And most radios have that little tuner. At least modern radios have that little tuner button that you can use to touch up your antenna. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, this is hard to hold in.
That guy.
Go ahead.
Because you said that the antenna, the tuner, it doesn't tune the antenna, it tunes the transmission line. And that is only true, in fact, if you put the tuner in the wrong place.
You want to have it close to an antenna, won't you?
If you put the tuner in the right place, which is at the feed point of the antenna, it tunes the antenna. And then it's a really, really, really good thing. I'll do a really simple example. If you do a vertical, a quarter wave vertical, ground plane, or on the ground with ground radials, the radiation pattern of that in the low angle compared to a half wave or 5/8 antenna length radiating elements is really bad. It's really, really bad. It's in the area of 10 dBs less for the quarter wave, which is matched more or less to 50 ohms, than for the 5/8. And that thing that's on the bottom of a 5/8 antenna, that's a tuner. It's a single band, single frequency tuner, but it's a tuner. It's the exact same thing that's going on in there that's going on in the tuners with all the relays. Only all the relays aren't there because it's single frequency, single band. So not only is not using a tuner stupid, you get better antennas. You can build better antennas. You can get better radiation angles if you use tuners on antennas. But you have to put them at the feed point of the antenna, not in your shack.
Yeah.
Important tip. And one more thing. If you need to put them in your shack, you should not use 50 ohm coax from the shack to the antenna. You should use a ladder line. It makes a huge difference. I found a calculator to get you some numbers on that, and calculating with 15 meters of feed line for an antenna on 14 megahertz, 100 watts. If you do that with coax, you lose half your signal with a 10-to-1 SWR. That's not an uncommon thing to have for a random wire, let's say. With ladder line, you lose 6%.
But with a random wire, you usually have a 9-to-1 at the endo to mitigate some of that.
True, that does help, but still,
you do not usually attach the random wire antenna straight to the coax outside.
That's true.
You
That's
put
true.
a matching unit on there to bring the SWR down.
If you use the ladder line, you could. But, the point is, why would you not put the tuner with the at the feed point of the antenna? Why would you want to insist on putting it inside the radio? I mean, for portable work, the G90 is excellent. I can put the antenna, I can have the feed point at the back of the radio. That's not a problem. But for in a ham shack, of course, you want to put the tuner at the base of the antenna. It makes perfect sense.
Let me illustrate something about your point of having ladder line or stuff going outside. You pointed out that I have a roof cam, a ceiling cam, and this is the coax going out of my shack. It's going up through my ceiling, up to the attic, then out of the attic on the side of the house. Running ladder line up there and keeping it far from metallic objects and everything, that would be hugely impractical. So the reason we have tuners in our shacks is practicality, actually.
And one more thing that's quite important, or critical, I would say. If you have more than one antenna, you need more than one tuner with Bob's solution. You need one per. Yeah, if you want to put it in the feed point of each antenna, they are spread out over a huge area, maybe like 10, 15, 20, 30 meters apart. Then you need one per. But if you have one tuner and a switcher, then you can.
Why would you want several antennas when you have the tuner at the feed point?
Because there are some different kind of antennas, and if you see my antennas here, I got a Windom, I got an NFED half wave, I got a 3-element 6-meter beam, and not a 10-meter HP9 CV, because I replaced that with the worst beam ever, which is a shortened 20, 15, and 10-meter beam, which is practically as deaf as I don't know actually, but it's a really it radiates well. But that doesn't really matter because you can't hear the other stations on that antenna.
Yeah, but
and you need a tuner because it's not especially broadbanded on those bands it covers.
Yeah, but I'm really happy. Like when I started this hobby, my Elmers were of the kind like say you need a tuner. My first radio, the TS480, which was a horrible portable radio, it still had a tuner. But then I met Lima Bravo 18 Golf, Vlad. He did a lot of SOTA, and he actually gave me this one, also like an L-brick. So this is the DIY version of the fancy thing you showed earlier, Morten. So
yeah.
I think this is an L-match one. But anyway,
that looks like an L-match.
This one. Use this with the vertical one and just a short coax to put it into the radio, and like set just at the feed point, and 10 meters or 10.5 meters of vertical wire for that. And like when I got it first, like it was really hard to use. It took me a long while to get it tuned, but after that, like after using it for 10, 20, 30 activations, I could tune up so quickly. Like I could tune up almost faster than my G90 could when it tuned and switched bands. And these ones are amazing things. They can tune a lot of things. And I ran so much like DX with this one.
And tuners are practical. It makes me almost be able to run 160 meters on my 80 meter Windom.
Oh, I've used a lot of 160 on my 80-meter antennas.
So, and I have two tuners in the shack here. I have this JRC tuner here. And then I have the tuner in my 7300. And which tuner do you think I tuned the fastest on? The JRC tuner or the 7300 tuner?
The manual one.
Almost.
Yeah.
Of course, it tunes a little bit faster just pressing the tune button, but there's not really much of a difference though. And that manual tuner has a much wider range. Not that I really need that on my antennas because they usually just need a little bit of a touch up.
But that manual tuner has probably got attachment points for ladder line on the back.
It does not.
It does not.
It does not.
Sad.
It has, however, been modified with an antenna switch at some point.
Ah,
and the SO connections on the back are not logically placed. So because antenna port number 1 is where the antenna port is supposed to be, but 2 and 3 are put together with the radio connection. So you actually gotta be a little bit careful when wiring this thing up. But I don't use the antenna switcher in it though, because I got an MFJ antenna switcher up back. My next step is beside me I got a MFJ antenna and radio switcher actually. So my next step is wiring that up so I can use all my radios with all my antennas with only one tuner.
Yeah,
bring it back on subject.
But I do fully agree with you about like the best technical solution is having one per antenna. There's like that that is the best technical, but not all of us have unlimited amounts of money.
But that sounds like an argument for one antenna and one tuner, not for many.
But one antenna does not have the ideal radiation pattern everywhere from 160 to, let's say, 70 centimeters.
That's true, and that might be a good reason to have a few. But for let's say you're constrained for space, for a relationship with neighbors, or for money. What I have here, I have one HF antenna on the outside. I have the CG 3000 tuner, which is at ground level. That's connected by coax back to my shack, and I have around about 22 meters of wire going 10 meters up and 12 meters across. That thing tunes from 10 meters to 160 meters, no problem. And it's not really usable, but that's because of all the noise that I have to contend with here. But from 20 meters and up to 10, it works perfectly. And with that wire, I know if I connected another tuner, I could tune that wire in 6 meters as well, no problem.
Nice.
So it's a really simple. It's inexpensive. It's non-intrusive for the neighbors. Simple to set up. But the important bit, I would never be able to have an antenna that's usable in practice from 10 meters to 160 meters if I was running coax from the feed point and put that CG 3000 in the shack. And I wouldn't want to be in the shack with that thing working anyway.
We got a question here from William, if it's ATU or AMU to describe a tuner. I don't know what an AMU is, but I've always thought that ATU is short for antenna tuner, not automatic tuner. So
I think AMU is an antenna matching unit. Yeah.
Antenna matching unit. Yeah. And according to Stuart here, the RSGB uses AMU.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm going to try hard not to offend the British Isles one more time here.
Yeah, but I'm not sure ATU if that is automatic antenna tuner or if it's antenna tuner. I've heard both.
It's antenna tuner. If it was an automatic antenna tuner, it would be an AATU.
Or an A squared TU.
Yeah.
A double ATU.
Hey, there's a cat.
We got a cat here.
Hey.
That's nice.
But talking about tuners, I've been talking a little bit about the antenna that I would try to create a presentation on that I've been using for the past 6 months now, maybe, which is just a 10-meter tall mast with the wire on it and the few radials on the ground. That small, tiny little box, the size of a matchbox, is also a tuner. But again, it's a single band, single frequency tuner. And it does exactly the same thing as the thing you showed up, Morten, but it doesn't have the dials.
Then it's an antenna matching unit and not a tuner. Wouldn't a tuner, by definition, say that it covers a wider range
according to
matching
the
unit?
RSGB, is it? Then an antenna matching unit and an antenna tuner unit is the same thing.
Yes.
But, it's a matching unit, but so is the tuner. But it's once again, it's a single band, single frequency.
Whereas
matching unit.
and I am wandering into opinion territory here, but
Yeah.
I would say that there is a difference between a matching unit and a tuner, even though they both do the same thing, just a little bit differently.
So basically, you're saying that if it's tunable, if you can field reprogramming it for different frequencies, then it's a tuner, and if you can't, then it's a matching unit.
I like that definition of field reprogramming it, but
No big surprise.
Yes, exactly.
I work in IT. Yeah.
And I actually want to go back to one of my projects now, just to show why I have a tuner in the shack, though, because this is what I'm going to switch my antenna switch with. And here you have ports for the let's see, the radios down here and the antennas up here. And
Why do you have 440 megahertz?
No, it's a TS 440. It's an old Kenwood.
I thought it was 70 centimeter.
So
did you also think that was 7.3 gigahertz?
No, I wonder.
the brand new 7.3 gigahertz band.
Yeah.
And the 706 megahertz band.
Yeah.
But when I have this, I can route, because this seems like this is actually just two switches in one. So you have to take a cable from the COM port here to the COM port down here. And in that line, you can put a tuner and have the same tuner for all of your radios. Since the TS 440 has a really, really bad sound when I press the tune button. It's just because that is it's two variable capacitors in there, I think it is, and they are run by a motor, and there is something seriously mechanically wrong with that contraption at the moment. There are no relays, but two variable capacitors, and it sounds like a French car.
Yeah.
Sorry if we probably managed to offend another part of the world here.
They're basically the only nation we haven't offended by now, so yeah.
Yeah, but that lets me use 3 radios with all my antennas, and it's an ease of use thing, though. And that has been one of my core points, though, when new hams ask. And my point is, try it out. It might not be the best setup, but if it works, it works.
Yep.
And that's why I think you should use an antenna tuner, just to be able to get past those minor imperfections which might otherwise stop you from getting on the air.
Yeah, I agree. You should use that. But if it's at all possible, put it in the right place, not in the wrong place. It's like the cart and the horse. You can have the horse behind the cart, but it's not a good idea.
Would that be a real wheel drive cart if you do that?
Would be a rear horse driven cart.
Yeah.
It would not win any speed or elegance contests, I think. It is possible. So, I agree. Use a tuner, of course. Use a tuner, and as I said, there's quite a bit of antennas that are better. That will need some sort of matching unit. It could be a tuner or a static matching unit. We can call it that, maybe. But a lot of the time, you can't get the radiation pattern, the ideal radiation pattern from an antenna, if you are constrained by having to match it to 50 ohms. So use a tuner or a matching unit.
So I guess the conclusion is that antenna tuners are friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a surprise.
We made it!
I just wish we had Walt on and he could talk about the amazing tuner in the G90.
Yeah, it is good. And it tunes absolutely everything. That tuner saved me so many times.
I've said it before. I've managed to tune the G90 without an antenna connected.
Yeah. I've done it with the coax and and the 49-to-1 transformer and nothing else. I had a QSO on that. Remember to Turkey.
And William asks if we can squeeze the difference in between a Z match or a Z match and an L match. And I'm going to pass the ball or the egg over to someone else here.
Yeah, Ford knows that.
Let's see.
And we are completely blank on this one.
I got to be honest. That's the part of the license test where I just memorized the diagrams.
Yeah, I will try and look into it. I can tell you quite a bit of L matches. I've the matchbox that I talked about it's an L match. I did quite a bit of research to understand L matches. C matches, not so much. So if I can get back to you on that when I have time.
We give you 5-minute research time, and then we go back to you, right?
That's not going to do, sadly, but I will at some point talk at length about the difference between L matches and C matches.
Perhaps we could dedicate a complete show to you doing that. Complete episode for you to do that.
Yeah, that would be a nice way of losing viewership.
I'm not sure if many people would tune into that.
No. No. Tim says that tuners are friends at the feed point, but not a friend after 50 feet of coax with a 15-to-1 SWR on 10 meters.
Yeah.
And I'm tempted, for argument's sake, to disagree a little bit there, Tim. If that is the only way you can get it on air on 10 meters, they are friends. It might not be the ideal solution, but it will get you on the air.
I shall do the calculation for that example. 50 feet, is that about 15
meters?
Yeah. Yeah, you'd lose 2/3 of your power in the coax in that scenario. In the scenario that Tim showed us. So I would say I'm with Tim. Then it's not your friend.
And Mihai says that the Z match is not using any switch for inductance.
All right, so it's a single inductance.
So that is. But then again, I got a question here though, because let's put it on the overhead cam. Because, sorry, no, never mind. It's impedance and not inductance. So never mind. My point is not valid anymore.
See that the switch that you have on the back there that says high impedance or low impedance.
Yeah.
If that's what that does in some tuner configuration, it moves the shunt element from the load side to the source side.
Yeah. I think I haven't traced the traces on the PCB here yet, but I might not even do that at some point.
I'm sure that since it's open source, you can probably find some documentation for it, unless they remove that part of the documentation on the PCB. So you should be able to get the full schema and technical documentation for it.
There is actually on the AliExpress page, there is a really good documentation on it.
Yeah.
And it says the LAD might not go completely off for every band, but you're fine. Go on air and make DX.
Good instructions.
Yeah. And Tim agrees that any antenna is better than no antenna. And that is my point, though. And my point is, if hunting the ideal solution is keeping you from getting on the air and making those QSOs, it would be better to use an antenna tuner. And I usually, when people ask me about things, I usually ask back, have you tried it? And they say no. And then I just tell them to go out and try it. And you're not gonna, you're gonna have a hard time injuring yourself, your equipment, or other people if you don't do it terribly wrong.
Yeah,
that sounds like a challenge.
Yeah, and I think in 90% of the cases, your antenna mounting position does so much in quotes harm to your SWR that you can aim for perfection, but you never get it anyway, right?
Exactly.
I'm sitting here, fiddling with end-fed half waves and one winding more or less on the coil. But I mean, in reality, does it really matter? No, it doesn't matter at all. You mount it. There's some metal roof nearby, some pole, etc. The whole thing is just detuned by design. So
everything is a compromise. I mean, who out there has their 80-meter dipole at perfect height?
Yeah, that's got to be quite high up.
Yeah.
Perfect height is, I think, as a matter of definition,
half a wavelength.
No, perfect height is away from the Earth, I think.
Yeah, but you should have it
in space.
But at least half a wavelength, and having a 40-meter tower for your 80-meter antenna is probably not going to be ideal.
You need two of them to stretch in between.
I think my 80-meter antenna is pretty high, and that's at 14 meters.
Yep.
And there's quite a bit up to 40 meters still, but it performs good enough for just doing 80 meters is endless, no matter how you look at it, though.
Well,
if you're not one of those Japanese people with a 6-element 80-meter beam.
One of the first summits on the air activations, I was with a colleague from the club. He strung up an end-fed, I guess we'd call that a random wire, tuned it with an AH4 tuner, 80 meters, got North America.
Yeah.
So absolutely, it's absolutely not just NVIS.
On sideband or on digimodes?
On sideband.
Yeah, you just need to hang it over some salt water. For example, the one on Lima Alpha 4 Charlie, that's it's maybe 10 meters over the sea, but it's over salt water parts of the way at least, and that helps as well.
Yep. This was, of course, on a mountain. There was a very little salt water up there, but it worked.
I see that this show has gone way faster than expected.
Yep.
We're past the hour mark, and William had a suggestion in our Discord, hamshow.eu/Discord, about a topic. I don't know. Should we do that next week?
What was that?
That was how radios have become more capable and better than they were 10 to 15 years ago.
Yeah, we can insult some people with that topic.
Or why SDRs are better than tube radios.
Yeah. That sounds like something that at least there will be some input on opinions.
Yeah. Those shows seem to be doing pretty well. Tobias, you have AT100. Is that what you're showing off?
Yeah, right. That's AT100 that I built. And I'm not super proud. Hang on a second. Let me quickly switch again. The one thing that I'm really proud of is I put it into a case and it does not look completely crap, because this is always the hardest thing for me to do. The soldering and the wires, that's easy. But putting it in a case that it does not look like junk, that's the really hard bit. So
that looks nice, and I guess it probably works better than any of the AT100s that I have bought from China.
I don't know. The AT100 is a nice design, but of course it has some drawbacks. There's no zero current relays. So basically, when the relay is engaged, it draws power, so it's not really for QRP operation. And the firmware in there also has no memory, so it doesn't remember if you tuned on 80 or 20 or 40 meter band your antenna. It doesn't remember that. So it always starts from scratch. But anyway, it's a very nice kit, and I can recommend everybody to build one.
Yeah, I have, speaking about that, Tom, which we featured earlier in the episode, has a couple of videos on his AT100 build and the mistakes he did when buying it. I have had two AT100. The first one, when I got it, it rattled, and I opened it up, and there was some loose screws, and everything was glued down on the PCB. So it was a really hard I had a really hard time finding those screws in there and figuring out under which part of glue should they really go.
Yeah.
I made that work pretty well and used that for a little while. And then I bought another one, which had a battery, which was nice, but it didn't like RF.
Oh.
That's important for a tuner to do.
When it had
Yeah.
high SWR, the display started flickering and the firmware went bonkers.
Okay.
And that is not a good trait in an antenna tuner.
No, it wouldn't
Yeah.
make me very comfortable using that.
No, besides that, it had a too small battery, so after 2 QSOs, it didn't have any more power in it, and didn't really charge. You couldn't really operate it at the same time as you had it plugged in.
But in theory, like a tuner, it shouldn't need power, should it? Like just for the automatic tuning part, like when a manual tuner doesn't use power?
No, it doesn't use it. That depends, though. If you have latching relays,
Yeah.
you can. I mean, then you just use power when you're switching the relays in and out.
Yeah.
But if you don't have latching relays, you need power to keep the relays in place.
Yeah, so you should be able to make it like tune automatically and use power just for that, and then
Yeah.
it remembers it until next one.
We're in way overtime here, but you had that comment last Sunday, Bob, when we went on our PODA expedition in Sweden, when I tuned the G5 RV on 20 meters, and you commented that the relays didn't click.
Yeah.
On my tuner, because it was probably where I used that antenna the last time on that tuner.
Yeah.
So it was already in tune.
That's a very, very good idea for QRP operations, so battery powered operations.
Yeah.
But when I got the 705, I also got the I think it's AH4 tuner, isn't it? Comes with it. And that thing too has latching relays, and the batteries in that I think are just normal AA batteries that you replace when they run out. So that uses very, very little power.
I have the LDG Z100, which I use for portable use with the 706.
Yeah,
and that is a good tuner, except that I have probably the only one which does not have a AA battery caddy inside it. So I need to make room for that. But then again, it powers off of the radio with the ICOM cable.
Nice.
So there's not really any need for that. And I used to have an Elecraft. What's that little Elecraft tuner called? The little green one?
Something 705.
AT1 or something. The little QRP tuner. And that was a really nice tuner. Powered by a single AA battery, I think. And it just worked.
That's very much QRP. You put 100 watts
that is very much QRP, and that's the same with the Chinese tuner that I got. That is also very much QRP.
Yeah, I think an important thing we talked about it's called the ATU 100. That design, I think that's a very, very sound design. But if you create that with substandard capacitors or substandard relays or substandard soldering, it's going to be a piece of crap, and it's going to break the first time you try it. But if you build that design with quality components and quality craftsmanship, it's going to be a very, very nice tuner.
So what you're saying, if you buy that tuner off of AliExpress or eBay, you're not going to be in very much luck.
Get a German to build it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that doesn't help really, because I think I got mine also from some looked trustworthy source, and I think one of the soldered on NP0 SMD capacitors was not so good, and I figured that out and took it off and replaced it with a leaded capacitor with wire, so no SMD, and now it's working fine. So
this is exactly the reason why I'm saying get one that's built by a German.
Or build it completely yourself, just get the PCB and put all the components on, or maybe just get it with the processor soldered on, and everything else is then your job.
Yeah. And it's an open source design though, so it's really nice. But we're at an hour and 10 minutes now, and if we don't want to turn into the ham radio workbench, I guess we might think about saying that we'll be back next week with why transistors are better than tubes or something like that.
I thought we were going to do live commentary of that hand egg show later today.
And to all our American viewers, good luck with the national final in hand egg.
Yep.
And on that note, as they say on Top Gear, 7-3.
7-3.
Yeah. Ciao.